All right, welcome again to another episode of the Goalpost Gossip. I'm your host, Alton, and without further ado, let's get this ball rolling. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, this episode is just basically we touching base of to talk about what happened in La Liga over recent days. Um, over La Liga. The one and only, the great and mighty Barcelona got beaten by Atletico Madrid 4-0. That kind of just put a shadow over the title chase right now because as we know, Real Madrid is just like right on the heels of Barcelona. So as they slip, they slide. And with that defeat, it allows Real Madrid to take the lead because they won their game 4-0. We all know that Barcelona can get trashed anyhow, anywhere by anybody. Because the thing about it, Barcelona play a very, very high line. And if you have a set of players that can run the behind their defense and you play the ball over, you can break them down easy. Bomb to the middle, one out to the side, and back into the middle, also break their defense. And that is exactly what Atletico Madrid did. They exploit their weakness. Lookman played a very, very, very important role in that victory. And Lookman, I wish we had that player also. I don't know. It may sound like I'm saying I wish Chelsea have all those players that are successful, right? But no, but I've been always looking at players who, before they even became who they are now, and figure that they would be a very good fit for Chelsea. But for some reason, we just never go good for some of those established players. So look, man, he only cost Atletico $40 million for a quality player like that. He only cost Atletico $40 million, and he went in and he did his thing. He did his thing, you know. Barca as usual always dominate position in game, but Atletico was way more clinical than them, and as I said, they exploit their weakness. So yeah, Barcelona lose again, and it's very interesting how La Liga is going on, So let's see who will take the title this season. And after that win by Atletico, um, Real Madrid go ahead to win their game, as I was saying earlier, and they took over. And Real Madrid did that without Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe was missing and he was no problem. A lot of people are saying that Kylian Mbappe is a problem rather than a solution to Real Madrid. But Vinny go and Vinny scored two goals, played a very very good game. So they defeat Real Sociedad 4-1, and they took the lead. In that instance, they took the lead and jumped over Barcelona and leading by just 1 point. So as I said, man, as any one of those teams slip, the other one can be in, because they're playing with that little 1 point gap. There's a little distance between them and third, but between those two, it's tick for tack. And after those wonderful games where Real Madrid won and also Atletico Madrid defeated Barcelona. In the follow-up game, the game after that handsome victory by Atletico did went out to Velaco, Rayo Velaco. Like, you see, sometimes in football, coaches can get way too comfortable. Like, He played a very, very he played a very, very strong team to defeat Barcelona. And then I don't know what he think about Velasco. Like he's like, okay, they're a weak fence, so I need to rest my main guys and let these guys go out there and play. And they get trashed 3-0. So nobody is really talking about that victory that they have over Barcelona anymore. Everyone is talking about the defeat that they the defeat Velasco. And after the coach realized that he was in trouble, that's when he started to throw on the big stars now, try to make a difference, which was a little bit too late. I always said, man, you playing football, bro, win the game before you play around and experiment. You can experiment, and then when things mess up, then you try to put all those guys under pressure by putting them on to try to come and make a difference. Put them on so they can put the game to bed, and then you can try to play around with room that you have. You know what I mean? And he gamble. You know it's you can't be playing like that, man. He gamble and he lose. You know what I mean? So with that 3-0, Atletico now slid down to fourth position. Yeah, they now behind Villarreal. You know, all they had to do was just follow up on that marvelous victory against Barcelona, and hold on to the third spot. You know, put themselves in a very good position to to be in the title race. No, they decided to play around and experiment because Velaco is nobody, I guess, to them. So now they slid down to 3 point to fourth, and they also play one game more than Villarreal. So Villarreal have a very good chance now of extending that lead. So yeah, that's as much as we're gonna say about La Liga. Let's touch over to Bundesliga for a little bit. And over by Bundesliga, you can see that Bayern won their game with Harry Kane scored 2. Bayern is only 6 points on the top, 6 points adrift of Dortmund. Dortmund is hunting them down, man. And Dortmund won like 5 games in a row. So Bayern is kind of win-win, draw, win-win, something of that sort. But they started off the season so good and so commanding, where their errors right now is not costing them the top spot, but it is causing Dortmund to get a little bit closer to them. Week in, week out, Hurricane score, and Hurricane score, win, draw, lose, Hurricane score. As you can see, Nicholas Jackson, he did came on, but he didn't make an impact. He's sliding down the pecking list, and I know he don't want to come back to Chelsea, but I don't think Bayern are not doing things to keep him, because you have to play a set amount, you have to start a set amount of games, and that didn't happen. So obviously, more likely after the season he's coming back to Chelsea. But as I said, Nico is not doing himself any good either, because when they put him on, Nico is not making any impact at all. So they really use him these days, which is very, very, very sad. All right, so we touch on that. We quickly gonna be touching over to League One, and PSG got trashed. PSG got trashed by Rennes, and Rennes took the top spot. It's about time a different team win League One. We are tired of PSG dominating that league, and that's why it is less interesting, because we all know PSG always going to win that league. We are tired of that. So they get their ass whipped, and Rennes took the lead, beat them 3-1, and took over the top of the table. So Rennes is sitting in the top, and they're just only 1 point ahead of PSG. But the fact of the matter is that they are on top, and they're the one who kind of giving PSG a real run for their money. So I'm excited for that. So hope Rennes can go. I'm saying the name right, I think. Rennes. Yeah, I hope they can go ahead and actually win the league this season. It's only week 22, and so they got a long way to go, but hopefully they can go ahead and finish off as the number one team this season. All right, we're gonna be finally talking about the Inter Juventus game. Madness, total madness. What do you think about it? I think it's madness. Like, the referee decision is atrocious. Like, that was a blatant dive. Hinter capitalized on the referee mistake. And I think the rule was that even for the red card is because it was a second offense. What was it, like a second offense, so VAR couldn't get to intervene because the second offense, something of that sort. So VAR didn't intervene with the issuing of the red card, which really sucked. Um, Juventus came from behind twice, and just as when you thought that the game was over, Juventus with 10 men gonna earn a point. Boom. In extra time, Inter Milan get a goal and seal the victory. So Inter Milan is still sitting on top of the league. Juventus, that was a well fought game, and Juventus deserved to come away with something, to be honest, because they they were given a raw deal, man. They were given a raw deal for that red card in the 42nd minute. They were given a raw deal. And I don't know, like, you have technologies, you have VAR, you have, I mean, I felt like if it was seen in a situation where the referee had made a clear and obvious error, I feel like the technology should intervene and overrule that clear and obvious error. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, referees are only human, because now, even when we go back and watch some of the games that played back before VAR, we saw some calls that should have been made. As much as our VAR make irritate us at times, I think it's a good addition to the sport. You know what I mean? But until they get it right, until they are 99.999 or 100, we don't even want 99.9. We need 100% accuracy. We need 100% accuracy in VAR. You know what I mean? And they said that the rule is likely to be changed about the second bookable offense, so the VAR cannot intervene. That rule have to change, Ben, because that's just garbage. Because that cost Juventus the game. It cost them the top of the table also. You know what I mean? So they still have time. So let's see where it goes from there. So Inter still sitting at the top, and that was a fiery game. Let's say that it was a fiery game. Well played to both teams. But as I said, I think Juve deserves something for their bravery, for how they approach the game, even after going down to 10 men. You know what I mean? But that's how it is. It's football, right? All right, this is a quick episode, quick chat. So you know how it goes. Until next time, this is your host, Alton, checking out for Goalpost Gossip, the podcast where football meets banter. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow the movement at Gossip Goalpost. As usual, peace.